Thanks a lot. Vikramaditya Singh, grandson of Maharaja Hari Singh, who signed the Instrument of Accession, is actually now joining us. Vikramaditya Singh, thanks a lot for your time. There were a lot of things that have been debated for 70 plus years on that Instrument of Accession itself. Today, it seems the Supreme Court judgment that has come on the abrogation of Article 370 has also set the record straight on the Instrument of Accession itself, which is that, once that was signed, there was no concept of an inherent sovereignty left with Jammu and Kashmir.
Yes, I welcome the Supreme Court judgment today. We were all looking forward to it, and I agree with all the points that were listed out earlier on and everything that was highlighted. And yes, this makes it very clear. I mean, the fact is that the Maharaja chose the Union of India to accede to, and once the accession took place, he lost his sovereign powers. So to argue that he still had sovereign powers, it was a different matter that he was then asked to leave the state. And in order for the transition from the princely state to take place to the Union of India, Dr. Karan Singh, his son, at that time Yuvraj Karan Singh, was appointed as regent, to enable that transition to happen. That was all a transitionary phase. So yes, I completely agree with you, and that there should be no debate on that issue.
Even Yuvraj Karan Singh, you mentioned, has been referred to in the judgment that even he accepted at that time that Jammu and Kashmir is an integral part of India. Even Jammu and Kashmir's so-called constitution accepted that fact. So when you take everything into totality, whether Article 370 could stand or whether the Parliament could, abrogate it, that question does not arise. The Supreme Court is very clear on where Jammu and Kashmir stood after that instrument was signed.
Absolutely, and the fact that they say very clearly that the Article 370 was a process of integration that's taken place. So the past 70 years, this process of integration has been taking place. So everything that has happened over these past 70 years is moving ahead towards that process. And what we saw in August of 2019, which was the abrogation of Article 370 and 35A and the rest of it, was simply the culmination of this whole process. It has taken time. So I think we are moving in the right direction, and it should have happened a long time ago, in my opinion, but there will be a lot of people who will differ with that. But the fact is that the Supreme Court has set out a very clear-cut judgment and outlined everything in it.
Do you feel, Vikramaditya Singh, that somewhere the history from Maharaja Hari Singh to, let's say, today or till 2019, some of those things that happened pre and post independence were misrepresented in Indian politics in Jammu and Kashmir to lead possibly the public up to a garden path, for them to believe that somehow Jammu and Kashmir was different, special, and also sovereign in some sense?
Absolutely, I can't even begin to start telling you the negative and the misplaced mindset, a narrative that has been set over the years, which has now started to be rectified over the past 15-17 years about both the Dogra rulers pre-independence, Maharaja Hari Singh, and what happened post. I mean, the fact that there's hardly any mention of the fact that the entire region of Jammu and Kashmir, which included vast tracts of Central Asian territory, etc., were all brought together by the Dogra rulers and the Rajas who fought and were killed in those areas of Tibet and the rest of it. It's also a different matter that we have very little of that erstwhile princely state left with us. But the whole narrative and history itself has not done justice to the contribution of the Dogras and the way Maharaja Hari Singh served his duties as Maharaja, the last Maharaja of Jammu and Kashmir, and the kind of things that he did. It's only now coming to limelight. Otherwise, everything was just brushed aside, and a completely new narrative starting from Sheikh Mohammad Abdullah and Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru began, which of course took this whole country and the discussion on a very negative and a different plateau.
Even till today, there are some voices from Jammu and Kashmir, or the mainstream politics in Jammu and Kashmir are suggesting that this is somehow injustice to the aspirations and what was promised to the people of Jammu and Kashmir, that it became a part of India on some conditions. That this was a Muslim majority state, so-called princely state, that chose India over Pakistan, but it was done over certain conditions. How would you respond to those individuals today?
See, let's make one thing very clear. The only sovereign ruler, the person who could take the decision whether he should join the Islamic State of Pakistan or the Republic of India was Maharaja Hari Singh. Maharaja Hari Singh signed the same instrument of accession which was signed by over 550 other princely states. It's a different matter that we were a border state with a 80% Muslim majority population ruled by a Hindu king. That perhaps created its own frictions, and the fact that the whole partition of India and various other issues that played a key role during that time did have an effect. I am not saying that, but there cannot be any denying that there was any third option available. It was either joining Pakistan or joining the Union of India, and he clearly chose to join the Union of India. So where is that discussion today?
Once that decision was made, then effectively it should be laid to rest. You know, the other interesting aspect of this challenge was that the Constituent Assembly was not consulted, quote unquote consulted, although that Constituent Assembly ceased to exist. But the court is also very clear here that even the Constituent Assembly was created for a specific reason. It was there for a specific reason because of certain conditions. Article 370 was temporary and transitory in nature. And all of that was to fundamentally integrate with India further, not to disintegrate with India. But the court is also very clear that the Constituent Assembly's ratification was not binding on the president. In other words, the president can unilaterally declare that Article 370 is void.
Absolutely right, and I completely agree with the court's decision, but you have to understand why this feeling is there today. You see, for decades and decades, the people of Jammu and Kashmir have been misled to believe something totally different. That the fact that Article 370 was put in place, the fact that special status was granted for a completely different reason, as though J&K is at some point in time going to become Azad or is going to become a different state within a state. Which is why you had two separate flags, two separate constitutions. I mean, these were all basically transitory steps towards integration of India. But because it suited the powers that be during that time to control the state, to shut it down from all other areas, and to completely keep the control in the hands of a few, they set forward a very negative and a narrative that suited them. So today, when things are the process of rectification and setting things right is happening, the people are saying, what is this? This was not what was sort of promised, or this was not what happened. So these things are going to take time for people to understand and realize all of this. But it's all moving forward. It's a step in the right direction, in my opinion.
All right. I'll leave it at that. Vikramaditya Singh, thanks a lot for speaking to CNN News 18 and sharing your thoughts. I also hand it over to my colleague Toya.